Flash Gordon began its life as a comic book by Alex Raymond and gained in popularity quickly, resulting in the story being adapted into film, animation, and that live-action show that nobody talks about. All of this helping to solidify Flash Gordon as a pop culture icon. However, even though the franchise is considered a big influencer on 20th century sci-fi, for a long time it was mainly associated with the 1930s serial, and all of the tropes that came with it. People love the series, but it was very much of its time, a product of a bygone era. And then a little thing called the 80s happened. Yes, the 80s. Do a lot of coke and vote for Ronald Reagan. It was a decade of innovation, excess, and new fashion trends that would follow into the next century.
Well, if you're watching, don't worry, there isn't.
This was the perfect time to take this franchise and give it a whole new makeover. The result being the 1980s Flash Gordon film directed by Mike Hodges. It was hammy, it was gaudy, it was a hoot, and it earned its place as a camp classic of the genre. And one of my favourite films as a kid. And with Hollywood desperately mining deeper into the depths of our nostalgia, a remake was inevitable. And that's what we'll be looking at today to see how it matches up. So let's dive headfirst into the 2017 remake of Flash Gordon. We start our tale by joining Flash already midway through one of his adventures, which I'm really not that bothered by. I like how this could be considered a callback to the original 30s serial, where each story would end on a cliffhanger that would lead on into the next instalment. Because what is entertainment without homework? Anyway, after this dramatisation of a Meatloaf album cover is over and done with, our hero, Prince Adam... Our hero, Conan the Barbarian... Our hero, Flash Gordon, packs up and returns to base, and goes to meet Dale Arden, who has been a very busy girl. Dale, here played by this vinyl, wipe-clean sex doll... Sorry, but that outfit is even more fetishistic than the one she wears in the 80s version, where she was literally forced into sexual slavery. Okay, to be fair, the way they've written Dale here shows how malleable her character is. She's been a damsel in distress, a snarky action girl, a cool skater chick, and here, Dale's much more playful. She's sneaky, she seems to be up to no good, which is still a lot better than just being Flash's girl. Although in this one, they're more than that. They keep referring to being related, which is certainly new to the mythos of Flash Gordon. Anyway, when we do meet Dale, they're going full meta and is patronising a play recounting one of Flash's previous adventures.
I didn't do it for him.
It looks sort of interesting, like if it was part of a larger series of adventures, it looks like it would be one of the better ones. But Flash says there's no time for self-referential humour, collects his not-girlfriend and away they go. And after some sci-fi tomfoolery, they meet up with an old friend. Professor Zarkov!
Alright, bye-bye.
Oh, not Zarkov? Oh, that's okay. I couldn't quite decide if that guy was a Hollywood upgrade or not. So, where's Zarkov? The brilliant yet faint-hearted scientist who should really take more responsibility, as in every incarnation, it's entirely his fault that our heroes have to go through all of these problems. All his fault. All his fault.
Look at this place. It's beautiful.
Oh. Now, having said that, the Zarkov of the 80s version has a lot more going for him. He's sympathetic, far more empathetic, and just as active in the storyline as any of the other characters. Although I will admit I do appreciate that this version is willing to own up to some of the things he put these kids through. But Zarkov leaves the storyline with, I assume, a disintegration ray? Not magic, okay? This is sci-fi. Mysticism has no place here. Which has the unfortunate consequence of releasing upon the plot the big bad of this evening. And so, once again, all his fault. This is Ming, the superfluous. You'll see what I mean in a second. And they're here for the usual: pain, destruction, higher taxes, etc.
Neil.
Beg your pardon.
Careful, with that attitude, she may want to inexplicably marry you in the third act. But first they're up for a little old-fashioned world conquering and dispatches our heroes hilariously quickly. We'll join back up with them in a moment. But first, Superfluous is about to bump into some familiar faces.
Who are you? What have you done with Thor?
Oh, Luro! Fico! That guy! Oh, the fans aren't gonna like that. Fortunately, at this point, we leave Soups to her devices. Now, it's not that she's not good fun to watch, but when the film cuts back to her scenes, it's as if they've been spliced out of a completely different film series. A boring one. She menaces the locals and generally mwahahas up a storm. So I'd rather focus on our heroes. Speaking of, how is Flash doing? Yeah, that's about right. To review, Flash is on a new planet, been captured by Prince Baron, Dale has now been recast as Princess Aura, and it's all being overlooked by this beautiful creature, Ming.2. Now, we have a lot to unpack here, so here we go. The Aura-Dale recasting? I don't get it. I was liking the new interpretation. It made the relationship with Flash a lot more interesting, with Dale's main motivation being themselves. Now there's no surprise when Aura backstabs him. I could call this ballsy for doing this midway through a film, but I won't. And as for Baron, people can argue that this actress doesn't match up to how they think Baron should look. I don't know why, I don't know what somebody's height has to do with how they perform a role anyway. Plus, I kinda love this interpretation. It's a huge departure from anything we've seen done with the role before. Here, Baron is a tired, disenfranchised alcoholic with absolutely no trace of that long-dormant hope from the original. Besides, if I'm okay with Inigo Montoya from the year 3000, I'm okay with this. Though none can truly compete to Timothy Dalton, circa 1980.
Are you whispering that?
And then there's this guy. Jeff Goldblum is an absolute treasure in this movie. He is a delight to watch in every single scene. Also, he seems to be the only one here who realises what kind of movie this is, or what it's meant to be. So they recreate the opening court scene from the original, from Flash being presented, Aura's introduction, and even Prince Thun's execution, but with a few distinctive differences. Well, that's a new dynamic to their relationship. And rather than a sexy execution, Flash is forced into a slightly less sexy tournament for his freedom, in which his main competitor is... Volton! Yes, the Prince of the Hawkmen is my favourite character, and it's in no small part thanks to the infectiously enthusiastic performance of Brian Blessed, who I'm thoroughly convinced is some sort of Norse god descended from heaven to show us how to truly live life. I mean, his last name is Blessed. Come on, he's not even being subtle about it. Oh yeah, I'm sure this guy is really good too. And we do get to watch Flash Gordon face up against Prince Volton. And I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to it.
I know we're friends. This is crazy. I don't want to hurt you.
Huh.